So I saw this on an estranged parents platform and I want to share it with you. It's a doozy. Hashtag NC Parents Fact. So estranged parents facts, right? Fact. A no contact estranged adult child rarely, if ever, acts alone. There is at least one more close persons involved: spouse, other parent, sibling. And this is the actual post that I have on the screen here. I don't even know why that's relevant. And it's kind of true. An adult child who ends up estranging usually has something else going on, some other person related to them who starts to let them know, hey, that's not really your fault. That's not really healthy, or I hate the word normal, but normal. When I met my ex-husband, and he met my mother said to him, Marnie ran away when she was 13 years old and she's been around and she had her baby, which he already knew my children at that point, when she was 17, as if it took 35 men to make me pregnant kind of thing. And she was 13, she was constantly running. My ex-husband looked at her and said, wow, something really terrible must have been going on in your house for a 13-year-old to prefer the streets over being in your home. He let her have it. He also had a degree in psychology, very helpful. And as this stuff was unfolding, he was saying to me, you were just a little girl, right? And I was like, what do you mean? It's not your fault that you were trying to survive. And again, what do you mean? I believed when I met him, and for a long time even after I met him, like while we were in our relationship, that there was something wrong with me, that my own mother didn't love me and care for me. So when this person states all these facts that have been clearly very cherry-picked without explanation, yes, it oftentimes takes a third party to point out that your normal wasn't normal and that sometimes your normal was actually abuse. And then to take it a step further, the way that parent is interacting with that adult child in real time, that third party is pointing out, that's not nice the way they talk about you. Or did you know they tried to smear campaign you to me? Kind of thing. They may not use those words. And so we need contrast, which brings in a third party, oftentimes to understand what we've been through. I have had more than one client who ended up working and paying the bills in the family home at 13 and 14 years old. And they would tell me these stories about, they went to work, they babysat, they handed the money over and all this. And I said, like, you didn't get an allowance? No, we didn't get an allowance. Was your parent really poor? Not that that's an excuse, but trying to get the lay of the land, right? No, they had a nice car and stuff. That's, I just had to help pay the electric bill and things like that. And I would kind of look at them and make them repeat it to me. Because inevitably, once I did that, I'm the third party. Oftentimes, both of these situations, actually, they were no contact before they came to me. In these particular circumstances. There's one that's similar that went no contact while in therapy with me. And we'll see where that goes. It doesn't always mean it's forever. But in all of these situations, and two were male, one was female, the children, and all of them were mothers, the children were financially responsible for the house in some sort of way. And when I would have them repeat it back to me, they'd be like, oh, that's not okay. And then, of course, there would be something else that we would unpack, and then something else, and the pieces would start falling into place. I had another client who used to tell me, my parents weren't that bad. I'm just struggling with whatever. I think there's some stuff going on. And, well, tell me a little bit about your childhood. And they'd say, well, sometimes my dad spanked me here and there, but not a big deal. And then, moving on, like, okay, can you Tell me what that looked like. Well, they would go in the kitchen and they would get this board and they would bend me over and make me undress. And yeah, it was. And I'm like, okay, that's not actually a spanking. They beat you. Would you do that to somebody else? Well, no, because that's beating a child. But they never looked at it that way for themselves. Sometimes we need a third party and contrast to understand that our normal wasn't normal. And the reason that we have all these coping mechanisms is because our normal wasn't normal.